Welcome. So over the past few weeks, we've been exploring this concept of Maya. We've come at it from angles of just hearing stories and getting in the neighborhood of Maya. We experienced the kind of shakeup, the reality taking us by the shoulders and really startling us with what is Maya. And now today we're going to further investigate through Acharya Shunya Satsanga what is this Maya made of? What is it made of? And when we know what it's made of, then now how can we kind of start to toggle those switches to change the texture of that Maya that we are so enveloped by and covered up with? So the bulk of today's satsanga is on that topic. And in the last 5 minutes, we'll hear a question from one student that's been included here also. And I feel the answer to that question gives such a sweet balm to our journeying selves that are grappling with Maya and finding freedom from Maya and ducking back inside of Maya again and again. So this next 25 minutes will be this video. Then again, we'll take that 5 minutes of silent contemplation. And during that time, you're invited to simply be silent physically, but also just allow the mind to become an echo chamber. There'll be many vibrations of sound and teaching that have entered your thoughts. So in that 5 minutes, and it's an invitation to see what echoes inside and what emerges for you personally, individually, on this journey of imbibing wisdom. And then after that, we'll have some discussion. We'll have some shares. We'll have some questioning. So let us begin with today's satsanga.
Maya has three qualities. Maya has a quality called Rajas, Maya has a quality called Tamas, and Maya has an interesting quality called Sattva. So Rajas and Tamas and Sattva, for those of you who are new, are also known traditionally as qualities of the mind in Ayurveda, yoga, and Vedic psychology, but actually they come from Maya living in the mind, right? Do you think our mind is under the purview of Maya? Yeah. Do you think our senses are under? Yeah. Our logic, our deductions, right? Everything until we awaken. All right. So, they're really actually the compositions of Maya, and the Rajas and Tamas quality. Rajas is the activating quality of Maya. Tamas is the concealing quality. So when Rajas and Tamas are dominant in our mind through Maya, so what it does is very interesting. What Tamas does, it conceals. Tamas is a heavy quality. So it's like a shroud on our reality. It's like, it has a concealing, like a cloth had covered you from you. Like say you went to a mirror saying, I'll see myself, but there was this thick black cloth there. So now you can't see you. So then somebody says to you, look at you, you nasty person. Oh, I must be nasty. Look at you, you gorgeous person. I must be gorgeous. Now you just need others to tell you who you are because you can't see you at all. At all. And this is what Tamas does. So this is a very heavy, it has a Sanskrit word, if you want to notice it. It is called Avarana Shakti. A-A-V-A-V-A-R-A-N-A. A-A-V-A-R-A-N-A. Avarana Shakti, a power to conceal us from us. So it conceals your Brahman nature, your pure existence, pure bliss, pure infinity from you. And then you just start believing versions of yourself that you see, And the second thing it does is, and Rajas is the quality because of which, on top of that, it projects this whole world and your physical identity. So Rajas projects. So it projects more loops of, I must be this. I'm really mad. I believe in that. I this. I that is all kinds of permutation combinations of the ego. So tamas, which is the heavy and concealing quality, and rajas is the projecting quality, which is known as vikshepa, V-I-K-S-H-E-P-A, V-I-K-S-H-E-P-A. Can you say vikshepa? It is a vikshepa quality, which is like a projecting quality. So this is how samsara works. So in a way, Maya is like the soil in which our personal subjective soups are operating and giving us suffering. Because what they do is they conceal who we are. So the moment a child is born, it has forgotten who it is, first of all, because of Maya at a very rudimentary level. And then every time the mother or the father talk to it from the first moment of birth, it starts projecting all kinds of realities. So they work hand in glove. Thankfully, Maya has a third quality, which is called Sattva. This quality is the quality because it has a reflecting or illuminescent, and usually when tamas and rajas are more active, sattva is kind of latent. But sattva gets activated by what is known as vidya. Vid means to know. So as we listen to this kind of knowledge, as you are listening to me, as you are just listening, you don't have to act, you don't have to scratch your Maya out, you don't have to shoot yourself, you don't have to do anything. As you listen to this knowledge, rajas and tamas starts shedding, rajas starts calming down, and sattva starts creating, like there is a light that has been switched on, and it is opposite of rajas and tamas. Instead of the dark, heavy quality, it's light, it's bright, illuminescent, internal illumination. It creates internal illumination. And instead of being projecting and causing vikshepa and agitation and egotistic, crazy variations of our reality, it tends to stabilize and penetrate and see what it is. So sattva can get activated. And when sattva gets activated within Maya itself, so then it's almost like we use a certain switch inside Maya to calm Maya. After all, when you are asleep and you wake up from dream, you wake up from it from within you. Do you not? You wake up from within and you start saying it's a dream, and you have this phase internally. So even when you are projecting that dream, a lot of tamas has concealed who you are. So you become a bird in the dream. You're free to become anything. You are a male in your objective world, you can become a female in your. Has that not happened? All kinds of versions of you get created because tamas has concealed even your who went to sleep, you're forgotten. You're forgotten. I forget in my dream I'm Shunya. You forget who you are. And you can become anything, a purple bird or a butterfly, a caterpillar, anything. Because tamas has concealed who you are. And rajas in the dream projects all kinds of experiences and worlds, and world inside worlds. But then it is only when sattva starts waking up again that you start remember. So you take that much sattva to remember, oh no, I am Shunya, it is early morning, time for me to get up and meditate. So it's a recollection. Similarly, this awake world experience is also an experience of say 16 hours versus 8 hours. And even in this one, tamas tends to make us forget of our true identity now, which is Brahman. And rajas tends to project all kinds of ego versions of that reality. Even to be an acharya is ultimately a limitation of my Brahman self. It's a great trip to have. It's one of the preferred ones, but it's ultimately a limitation to my powerful Brahman self. So it is only sattva, or that quality of inner illumination, which is inbuilt in Maya and can get activated through Vidya, through right knowledge. Vidya is not knowledge. Even the knowledge of arithmetic can confuse us, because then we can think my identity is around arithmetic. And even the way Ayurveda is taught in the world, it's very confusing. I am Vata dosha, I am Pitta, I am Kapha, and it's a very limitation. But originally, the way originally Ayurveda was created was, Ayurveda teachings remind you, you are Brahman. That's the way I like to teach it. So any knowledge that wakes us up to our reality and helps us wake up from the waking dream, helps me wake up from the waking dream, that knowledge is known as Vidya. And only Vidya, such as what you get through Upanishad, is direct Vidya, what I give you here over these years, and I will continue to give till I am alive. And if you are still with me, you can come to the day I am going to, I don't know how I will end, but where the body will end. Already the dream has ended, now the body is going on. So you can be with me. So who is a guru? Who is a teacher? Who is Acharya? These are people who have significantly woken up from the dream and say, hey, wake up. So you come to me and say, I'm having boyfriend problem, money problem, health problem. I can help. But my ultimate help is when I help you wake up from the dream. This is my gift to you. This teaching is my gift to you. The other things are called band-aids. So as we awaken, the biggest gift our Brahman self is awaiting. So this is what Vedanta said, that each one of us can awaken in this waking dream, and then we can continue to live in this world. If we are a butcher, we can be a butcher. If we are a mother, we are mother. We are an assistant, we are assistant. We are lawyer, we are lawyer. I was an Acharya because of birth. I'm an Acharya, so I'm an Acharya. I don't have to change my profession. I didn't create a profession. I was just karmically led into it. So here I am doing what I'm doing. I tried to get a job in the bank. Nobody gave it to me. In fact, the person I interviewed with, he recently bought my book and said, I must study with you. So I was meant to be doing what I'm doing. When I first came into the country, I thought it'd be nice to find a job, and there was one job right ahead of me. And I went to them and I spoke to them about the Vedas. I was so new. They said, what do you know? I said, I know the Vedas. They looked at me. One of them was Indian. He had deep respect. He said, Madam, you're overqualified for this job. Why don't you start a Vedic school? I said, I'll consider it. I tried. So that's what you do in the dream. You do your best. You try. So when you awaken from this dream, and the more you awaken, so say you're having a nightmare. Have you noticed that as your dream starts lightening up, the suffering reduces? Have you noticed that? When you were deep in that dream, wasn't the suffering acute? You were even moaning and groaning. Has that happened to you? And all you want to do is, a part of you says, let me wake up. How should I wake up? How can I wake up? Mind is, right? You get, and that is called mumukshu, when you want to wake up. So how many of you want to wake up from this dream that you are having in your awake world? That is the question here. And how this general spellbound behavior of mindless chasing, mindless quest, mindless lamentation, and even mindless joys, how they are affecting and saturating people, and therefore having a sangha or a company where you can deliberate such matters, where you will not, vomit your samsara or your subjective world onto another. Isn't that what happens when we sit with people who are mindless and they'll just start gossiping or being negative, or and then you get filled with it, right? So when I move around in the world, I am aware. As a teacher, I'm consciously aware that 99% I meet are asleep. And so then what is my maximum bhava or feeling towards these people? Compassion. Compassion. Because how angry can I feel with people who are deeply asleep in the dream and suffering and self-created suffering? So therefore, this knowledge of at the personal level, when this Maya attacks us and takes over our subjective minds known as samsara, and we keep weaving more and more subjective sorrow, and we create more and more self-suffering, it is known as avidya, A-V-I-D-Y-A, and vidya. Can you say it? Avidya. And at a macro level, it is known as Maya. But even if you say avidya or Maya, you can use these words. Shankaracharya wants to use both these words because individual mind and collective mind, it's all the same thing. And this is all happening as if there is only Brahman is Nishkriya. There is nothing. Brahman is pure calm. Brahman is not creating it. It is almost like because of the presence, all of this dust storm has risen. But you find, like Krishna said, 12 years was spent in suffering, but Narada was not really gone that far. It was just in the blink of an eyelid. So this is a little bit of a stretch because we want to believe this is so concrete. And I will also teach you some concrete upasanas like meditation or whatever. So who is a teacher and what is Shastra? So a teacher is somebody, and we should only go to the teacher not because we have a crush on that teacher, because that's just like Maya behavior. Don't you think so? Not because we have a crush on the teacher or we just simply worship the teacher or we feel the teacher will rescue us, because that's like thoughts around. It's a model of like there's still somebody's going to dip in and save me. There's no concept of salvation in Vedanta. There is a concept of recognition and self-realization, or like breaking through suffering through understanding. Now, so a teacher is somebody in whose presence you feel like your dream has become less thinner, and you are having less of zombie-like conditioned, behavior. And who reminds you to then question your thoughts and your emotions as, are they even real? Is this even real? Now tell me, even before you ever studied with me, I am very sure that some of you may have been having full range neurotic behavior, and then you caught yourself and you snapped out of it. Has that happened? Anyone? Yep. So when you snapped out of it, was that even real? It was real, but then it's not real. And that is known as Maya or Mithya. It existed, but it also does not exist. So it doesn't have real substantive existence. Even this body, if you look deeper and deeper, it is nothing but pure space. There is nothing else but pure space. And every cell is changing by every second. The mind, they're like constant thoughts. There is no one thought. And even what you are looking in the world, like say you're seeing me, you're not actually seeing me because that moment has already passed. First, my image has go to your eye. Your eye has to send it through the neurons to the brain. The brain has to look at you. So you are looking at an older version of me, and I've already moved on. Similarly, when you look at certain stars and you look at the light, you think, look at the stars. You think you're looking at them now, but actually you are looking at how they looked 100,000 years ago or 20,000 years ago, because that light has just arrived to you now. So even this world of concrete phenomena is crazy. It's crazy making. And we think, whoa, we're so on top of it. And this is really great because this is what Vedanta was telling you, that we're so stuck and so concrete, and so we take our samsara for being so concrete too. But neither this is real nor that is real. Only you are real. And you need to wake up from your subscription to these clubs, the dream club and the waking club, and wake up, the clubless you, where you alone are you. You shall then discover that you will discover your true joyous self. Then you might continue in the body. You will continue in the body because whether you continue, whether you don't, these are all secondary things, because what really happens is that is called a Jivan Mukta, where you are living, but you are living from a place of freedom, from spontaneity, from creativity, where the dead and the living, the this and the all become connected. So you have complete knowledge, and you have Atma Bodha, self-knowledge. Self-knowledge, universe knowledge, it all connects. And that this is state of Jivana Mukti. Can you say it? Jivana means life and Mukti means freedom. You are living from freedom, not from bondage of Maya. This is what it means. And this Jivan Mukti, Vedanta says that all of us can become Jivan Mukta. Just by this understanding and not subscribing to this hypnotic behavior again and again. So we snap ourselves out of it, and all it requires is really a thought. This is what's known as Jnana Yoga, where we don't have to breathe and do, a lot of pranayam, though I teach pranayam for health, but we don't have to be really, doing Kapalbhati, 300 Kapalbhatis a minute to be, out of it. We don't need out of body experiences. We don't need to hang upside down. We don't need to do anything but just know it. And through knowledge, when all these typical emotions swell up within us, we can say, interesting, the Maya inside causing this samsara loop, and the Maya outside causing the wheel of birth and death samsara. This is all in motion. Who am I? I am that bliss. I may have forgotten it temporarily, but let me wake up. And as we start doing that, this contemplative auto-suggestions actually, interestingly, disperse the fantasy, and then, like Shunya, entered the ghost house and did not get spooked. Because I went in with a conscious determination this time that I had to use Vedanta to go into that spooky house, but then nothing was spooking me. And I can tell you, things that spook a lot of people don't spook me at all. And this is why students who stay close to me will verify that I am same through good and through bad. Not because I'm emotionless, but because I am getting joy from another place and not necessarily having the Maya cookies to feed me or disgust me. And Vedanta begins with the reality of here we are. It doesn't begin with there is a God, we have to appeal to that God. It says that, wow, just wait to discover that God from within you. And if you want to worship a God in a heaven, in an Indian clothing, in a Western, you are free to do that. As long as you don't seclude yourself from that experience. As long as you know that this outer God is a symbol of the God everywhere and within me, which I am going to wake up to recognize. So it is a waking up from the dream. Okay. Janya, would you like to add something? Take the microphone.
I'm really appreciating what you're saying about the utilization of Maya for our awakening. That is certainly resonating with me right now in this moment in my life. And what I am also realizing from today's talk lesson is this is a process. And I think the gentleness with ourselves in the process, and I can only speak for myself because, like you said, there's 99% of people are not awakened. So we will be in those transactional relationships. Maya is thick. It's a thick fog.
Yeah.
And even though we're receiving this beautiful knowledge, there's places where, you were saying, we're away from here for 2 weeks and we kind of sink back down into it. And so I found myself recently both judging myself, but also being joyous of the knowledge that I have. I have so many difficult relationships and transactional relationships in my life currently, and it just seems like it's everywhere all the time. And I'm trying to figure out, there's a voice that's going, why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? I stop. I shouldn't, it shouldn't be happening to me. I have a teacher. I have knowledge. Why is it happening to me? And then actually, this was my thought last night. And I thought, oh, wait, no, that's perfect. It's Maya here for me to continue to learn. So this is where I am. And I had the thought running through my head. This is the gift of Ishwara. This is Brahman everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in the pain that I may be feeling in that moment. And so I just wanted to lift up that part of what you were talking about today because, and you did a gesture where you get to hold Maya, or you said Baba has Maya at his feet, instead of feeling like we're stuck in the silly putty mud of it.
Yeah.
So that's just been my reflection.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And actually that reminds me to underline the fact that due to Maya operating from ad infinitum, it's anadi, beginningless. We might break free from Maya, but then there'll still be Maya existing for a lot of people. I just want to say there is no room for shame for where we've been or where we are stuck or if we get stuck again. There is no shame in Vedanta. There is only the observation that, okay, Maya got us again. It's like thick maple syrup. It's sweet, it's seductive, it pulls us in, and it asks us to be either in tamas and forget ourselves and weep and cry and be numb, or it seduces us to project ourselves into things that we are not, and crave and want and desire and blindly chase. So it catches us both ways. But it's Maya and it's gooey and it's all over and it creates a collective unconsciousness that that we all are trying to now create as a collective consciousness awakening. And that is why even in our mission at Vedika, we have awakening health and consciousness. So we not only want to satisfy ourselves with awakening health because that's our birthright and we are infinite beings, so even health can be recreated, but it's really, we also want to awaken in our consciousness to who we truly are.
So now I invite you to take 5 minutes. We'll begin our 5 minutes of silent contemplation now. No need to write anything, no need to capture anything. Gift yourself these next 5 minutes. And as you sit in silence, you're welcome to unmute yourself so that we can be in silence together, if your surroundings allow. We've just received deep teachings through our power of hearing. So in this silence, let whatever you've heard echo and resonate. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the question, what deep inner knowing has been revealed from these satsanga I just received? You to come back to, in this silence, what truth is echoing inside of me. Continuing to return to that inner stillness, simply sitting with what we've received. In our final minute of contemplation, bring awareness to the one or two words or ideas that have really crystallized for you in the past half hour. Begin to bring your awareness back to your physical body, to the room and space around you, and this common circle we're sitting in. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if they're closed, taking your time. Beautiful. Welcome to put yourself again on mute as we start to share in our circle. So with this satsanga, we've explored this concept of Maya from many directions. And so would anyone like to share what has emerged for them from today's teachings? What is a truth that is maybe something you have heard, but has now become a deep inner knowing? Or perhaps a facet of this that is illuminating something new for you, maybe something more you want to sit deeply with or contemplate on. Shweta, I see your hand is raised.
Jaima, everyone. Um, Something Acharya Shunya said really resonated with me today, and it was people come to her with these problems of, hey, I have a relationship problem, or I have money problems, or whatever. And her gift is to just wake up, and it's a bigger gift than any one of those samsaric problems. And when I first started satsang and became part of this satsang and our study circle, I had the same thing going on. I was knee deep in samsara. I had this conflict and that conflict and this issue and that issue. And I didn't see that being discussed. I saw these bigger concepts being discussed. And I always wondered, how will I ever get there if I can't get out of this daily samsaric battle? But what she said today just kind of shattered that whole thought, that limiting belief of it's when you wake up to who you are, those problems are not there. None of it exists. It just goes away because you're actually waking up to your reality. So you kind of leapfrog. And it was very impactful when I heard that today, because I knew it intellectually, but I always had this like uneasy feeling like, oh, I still have a relationship issue, or I still have this obligation. And it was like, none of that matters. None of that is real. And when you wake up, you're waking up to this other reality where none of that exists on that plane. So that was very powerful for me.
Thank you, Shweta. Yeah. And like she so often says, it's like it is real, but it's also not ultimately real. It's like we see through it and we say, oh, that's all putty. That's the Maya. For which I can strategize and do, but it's not who I am and my reality. So that separation is deeply empowering, isn't it also? Yes. Anyone else like to bring a reflection or a share from today's session? Or something you've been carrying forward around this concept of Maya as well? Kalyani, I see your hand is raised.
Just relating to what Shweta just shared and what you had shared in response, perhaps this image just really resonates with me because I'm in New York State and we produce a whole lot of it here. But Shinji's image about the Maya being like maple syrup, being thick and gooey, just really resonated with me in this moment and just made me think of just how easy it is, how much of conditioning we have had in our minds over lifetimes to be able to so easily get lost in the goo. And so Janya's share about just being gentle with ourselves with this process definitely resonated with me as well, that in this process of just coming back to this remembrance and awakening, it's going to be a bit of a process just because we've had so much of time that we have been asleep, and so it's going to take time to cultivate these new patterns and new ways of thinking.
Yeah, definitely, Kalyani. And one thread I see connecting both what Shweta has shared and Kalyani and what Janya and the question we heard in the recording. Yes, there's this process and one discernment, one contemplation that I find myself continually coming back to with these teachings is when a worldly samsara problem kind of bubbles up and emerges. I often continually ask myself, is this something that needs my attention and I need to address and need to take care of? Because it's coming up in my field. It's something that I need to bring sattva to and work with. And or what part of this is actually the mind, my own inner samsara, which is veiling and projecting, doing that hiding the self from me and projecting this new reality that is keeping me asleep. So is this issue, this challenge, this problem something for me to engage with and wade through? And how much of this problem is something I need to wake up from? And that contemplation helps me calibrate how to live in the world, but remember that I'm free from it. And like she said, with the stickiness, Maya is sticky. So it keeps kind of, it's like we wipe it off and then it comes back again. So it keeps doing that, and we shouldn't get too frustrated with it. It's just the nature of what is happening. So that discernment of how much of this is my own mind's projection, my own qualities in my mind of tamas, which is hiding something from me, my own self from me, and projecting this important thing that I need to rush off to instead of coming to satsanga, instead of contemplating further, instead of listening to a teaching. So how much of this is distracting me to sink me deeper into Maya? And when I step away from it, how easy or hard or different does that putty of Maya appear? Yeah. So there's a lot of contemplating inside that realm. Yeah. Shweta, would you like to say some more about
I just wanted to add something you brought up just now is, this discernment between what needs is something's bubbling up because it needs our attention. It's trying to teach us something, or am I projecting something that's not there, or distorting what really is happening? And I feel like once you're on this path of self-realization and trying to become one with Brahman, more of these samsaric things bubble up initially because there's some trauma or something that's unresolved, that it's starting to like churn this ocean and bring this Maya or ugliness to the surface so that you can actually, make your way through the muck. And then things will start calming down. And I noticed that when I first started doing these satsangs and the contemplations, that there was just more and more coming up for me, where it was like, oh my God, like, why is this happening now when I'm on this amazing path? But it was trying to teach me something. And I had to wait through that to get to now a point where things are kind of subsided and I have more clarity of thought. So I don't know if other people have experienced that.
I'm seeing nods and hands. Yes. 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 And yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's arising for us to see through it. It's arising for us to, with sattva, she used the word saying sattva stabilizes and penetrates this fog. So that quality of sattva, it stabilizes what we're experiencing, and then we're able to penetrate through that fog of avidya, of 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 unconscious awareness. Yeah. Parisa, I see your hand is also raised.
Hello, everyone. I do have a question which is related to what Shweta shared right now and what you explained, Sati Shani, about this question that when something comes up, an event, a situation, uh, we need to ask ourselves that is this does this really need my attention, or should I navigate it in another way? I want to know uh, whether these situations coming up, how are they related to exhausting karma? Um, how are they related in some way in churning tamas and rajas in our mind, and then acting in a certain way, maybe a pattern? I know that we gradually, it is my own experience, that gradually by gaining knowledge and attending satsang, as Shweta said, we develop an ability to recognize these situations and go through them more gracefully. But I wanted to know, how are they related to karma? And other than this question, I want to um, highlight what our dear teacher said today that really resonated with me, that there is no shame in Vedanta. There is no shame, no shame. We just observe, we recognize, and then we decide which way I should go. How should I navigate this situation? Thank you.
Thank you for echoing again that. Yeah, when she said that there is no shame in Vedanta, that felt so like an exhale of relief to know that we can approach it that way. Yes. So Parisa, thank you for bringing this question of things come up for us, situations and challenges, or things come up, and how does that relate to and they seem to be karmic. They seem to be karmic circumstances happen. And how does that fit or relate to this sattva, rajas, tamas in the mind? How can we approach it like this? Yeah. So I think there's two facets here. One is when we learned about samsara, about our inner samsara, which is our inner, our mentally constructed reality that is individual and unique to us. There was a piece in that teaching where we also received the truth that the outer world, what is coming to us, is under the law of karma. So there's karmic circumstances coming to us from the outside, but it is essentially neutral. It just kind of is what it is. It's the projection is projecting. And what programmed the projection? This law of karma is the software that it's running to decide what projections emerge, things like that. How we respond to those circumstances is filtered through, is impacted by this sattva, rajas, or tamas in the mind. So karmic situation comes and we have infinite possibilities of how we'd like to respond through our actions, through our words. But how we choose to do that is going to be very, very deeply determined by the state of our own inner samsara. Whether we're reacting by totally shutting down and a deep, deep depression and hardly able to feed and bathe our own selves, or whether we are responding with explosive anger, violence, blaming and shaming others, or whether we're sitting quietly with it and saying, okay, what part of this is mine? What part of this can I just let go? What's my measured and discerned response to this situation? Which would be when our mind is full of sattva and illumination. So there's one connection is there. The karma is the circumstances that come to us, and the state of our inner samsara, whether it's full of sattva, rajas, or tamas, will influence and impact how we respond to that. And that in turn decides what now new karmic seeds get planted in how we react or respond. So this is one way that the two pieces are related. And then the other piece is that she also takes us even one step further. I think it was in the last week's Satsanga where she mentioned that these laws of karma are descriptions that we are trying to use to make sense of this Maya projection. And they also are not this ultimate reality. They are also part of Maya. These gunas, these sattva, rajas, tamas, as pure and as light-filled as sattva is, it's still part of this material of Maya. It's still part of the subtle material of Maya, the qualities of Maya. And so this waking up, that's why waking up is our ultimate goal. So we use teachings of karma yoga, we use an understanding of dharma to act gracefully, as you said, to move intentionally, consciously, to navigate samsara. We cultivate sattva in our mind so that the rajas calms and the tamas softens and loosens and falls away to change the inner landscape of our own samsara so that when karmic circumstances arise, we're able to meet them with equipoise, not being pulled too far and falling off. So we do all of that. That's the cleaning up. That's the housekeeping that we have to do as a person who's still inside of Maya. We have to clean up constantly. Feels tedious, feels never ending, but we keep cleaning up. And at the same time, we receive this knowledge, this vidya, that is going to wake us up, where we finally realize, I've been changing the furniture, I've been cleaning up the space, and it's a projection. And it's been hiding my deepest self from me, which has been here all along. So it's from both of these angles that we clean up our inner samsara. We toggle the switches of the gunas by cultivating sattva. We respond to the karmic circumstances. We act in the world through karma yoga, which we'll go deep into karma yoga of how we should actually act in this world. So those teachings are coming from Acharya Shunya soon. While simultaneously staying focused on the ultimate goal of waking up. I'm going to learn how to navigate this dream like a total expert. I'm going to navigate this beautifully. And in the end, I'm going to wake up from it. So we hold both of these. It's, as she says, it's a stretch. We kind of hold both of these things at once. Yeah. Does that speak to your question, Parisa?
Thank you, Satishan. Yes, yes, it, it really makes me contemplate more about how I encounter my karmic situation with special attention to the state of my mind, as we learned today. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. Any other thought or question? Share. There's a few. Yes, James, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think tonight was a great example of just how powerful knowledge actually is. Because when we start on the meditation path, we have the experience of meditation. We say, well, I feel more rested or I feel more calm. But then, there needs to be more. This is one of the things I love about there's always more. And then if we're not aware of something, then we can't do anything about it. But once we become aware of it, then we have a responsibility. So I think the great power tonight for me was that this is Maya. Everything is Maya. The Bhagavad Gita is Maya. Acharya is Maya. And now that we know that, and just linking back to what she said a couple of weeks ago, this power of observation that gives us a chance of actually, in a sense, being free of the Maya. And through the cultivation of our discrimination, through our practice, if we have that courage just to be in this mode of observation, then we would know how to respond to any situation within this beautiful kind of tapestry of Maya that we need, because if we didn't have it, we would never know who we were. And I think, I don't know if this is relevant, but for me, when we come into this power of observation, where you're just aware, there's no processing, the quality of that is not Maya, because there's no sense of age, no sense of ethnicity. There's even no sense that this pure awareness is only human. It's beyond all of that. So therefore, the refuge is to come into pure awareness. Whenever and the beautiful thing is that we don't have to walk around, oh, I have to be in awareness. No, you just have to come into it when you're not aware. And just the last point, and I think it makes it, again, just worthwhile doing all this. Someone mentioned about process. Yeah, it is a process, but the wonderful, unique thing with this process is that we actually gain as we move through the process. We don't have to wait to the end, wake up one morning and there's whatever, pure light. No, we actually can see the benefit of it in our practice. So I think it's wonderful. It comes with pain, but it comes with a tremendous sense of enlivenment. This knowledge really enlivens us to really take up every opportunity for experience that we can have. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Yeah, so many beautiful facets in what you shared. I heard that coming into pure awareness and the relief that one feels. I loved also that you're highlighting that it's a journey, but it's not like a journey and then there's a final goal. It's like a progression, we're experiencing benefit each and every step of the way. And when you talked about that awareness, one unique thing about this quality of sattva that she mentioned is sattva is still in the Maya. It's still a quality of Maya. It's not the self. It's not the same as the self, but it's that quality that maximally reflects that truth. It's the most close to our deepest self. And so I think that's the mechanics of how along the way we start to feel benefit, because sattva is increasing. Every time we stop and smell a flower, sattva increases. Every time we do one small thing to cultivate sattva, bring in that quality of illumination, clarity, stability. That's how our journey gets progressively lighter and lighter. That's how we're in the nightmare, but we're starting to realize we're not in the nightmare, so we're not so suffering so much. And it brings us close right up to the doorway of that observer self. So I wanted to use that moment to share that mechanics. That's how we're working with Maya, and yet we're using Maya to come back to the self, I think, which is a component. Yes. Rochelle, did you have your hand raised? Yes, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm really glad that we're having these deep conversations about Maya. It's very helpful, and I can see that it's very helpful to everybody. But during the Gayatri Mantra workshops that we had, Acharya Shunya brought it up in a way that really resonated for me, so I really could hook on to it. And she described that it's our spiritual purpose is to defeat the dark and darkening tamas and the irritating rajas, qualities in the mind, and cultivate the seeds of sattva or luminosity, which is what you have said this evening as well, and so has she. But steadiness, trust, surrender, calmness, and all these good qualities that are represented by sattva. But what hooked me that I could, like I said, I could grasp it more to help myself is to define it as my spiritual purpose. And that helps me tremendously. So I hope it can help somebody else. That'd be nice too.
I like that reminder, Rochelle. Yes, it fits, I feel, with when we discussed last week about why is this Maya here?
Mhm.
Why are we even having all this Maya? And her answer was, if you want to taste Maya, if you want to taste Brahman and smell Brahman and feel Brahman and experience Brahman, you need this covering and then projection of Maya to engage with it, because it's Brahman is qualityless, transcendent, beyond the senses. So our purpose, as you are reminding us, Rochelle, is to experience the Brahman in the Maya while we're in the Maya. And that's the journey. That's the journey to come back. We're coming home. We're coming back. But I really like that word you've brought back for us. That it's our spiritual purpose. Yeah. To cultivate sattva. Yes. I'm seeing some shares here of about what James had shared that reminds me of a saying, the journey is the prize. Yes, I like that. And also appreciation. Thank you, James. We can have moments of mukti in everyday life, in Maya. Yeah, these moksha moments flashing for us. And James shares, I think it's been described as an obligatory pilgrimage to transcend Maya. Yeah. And as Acharya Shunya often says, the Vedic teachings start with, well, here we are. Here I am. I seem to be on a pilgrimage. Let me be a pilgrim. And all the things that come with that. Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you all for your presence here today, for your deep, heartfelt reflections, for bringing your light. These gatherings, our sattva potentiates each other's sattva. So we become an echo chamber of sattva when we sit together, share, contemplate. And you'll be very happy to know that in the next few sessions, we'll be exploring that sakshi, that witnessing observer. So we have relief and space from Maya and all of its projections and coverings coming very soon. With that, we'll close for today and have our closing prayers, and we can meet again next week. Tamas.